Clinton may well have gotten Americans killed by being stupid and careless with her emails. A Democrat activist declares if Donald Trump takes the Republican nomination, our party will lose more than the presidency. And an NAACP leader uses the F word to apologize for using the T word after a meeting about the N word. Got that? Good. My name is Howard Riell, and this is Riell Truth. You're listening to the American Freedom Network, streaming live around the world at AmericanNewsNet.com and on Facebook and YouTube and Tumblr and in the book, Riell Truth, Stay Angry. Of course, as always, broadcasting out across the Colorado Front Range on KHNC, Johnstown, Colorado, 1360 AM, The Lion. What's that? Our call-in number? I don't mind sharing it with you. It's 877-254-7524. My friends, you didn't ask me, but I'll start anyway. I'll tell you what my problem is with Iowans. Now, you know they're having their caucus today. It's the official kickoff of the presidential campaign, and I got a problem with the people of Iowa. I got two problems. Number one, based on everything I'm hearing on TV, Iowans tend to vote for people who spend a lot of time in Iowa, traveling around, talking to people, kissing babies and shaking hands, and I think that's just plain stupid. What the people of Iowa are saying is we don't care what the candidates stand for. Don't care what their track record of success is. Don't care what their policies are. As long as they're here, we'll vote for them. Well, why is that any different than saying we'll vote for anyone with a vagina? Or we'll vote for anyone with black epidermal tissue? It's not any different. It's the same thing. I understand you feel you're being taken care of. You're being listened to when the candidates are there, but guys, grow up a little bit. Do you think the candidates really were waiting to meet you before they formed their positions and their outlooks? They're shaking your hand and they're asking questions and listening, and basically they're just trying to placate you. They already know everything that they're going to do. They don't need your input. And so, grow up. If candidates are spending a lot of time there on the ground, are not spending a lot of time, doesn't change the candidate. You vote for policies and positions and candidate's track record of solving problems, not how much he's willing to smile in your face and how many babies he or she is willing to kiss. Second thing, I heard on TV a couple days ago, 39% of Iowans are still open to changing their minds 48 hours before the caucus, as of 2 days ago. What on earth are they thinking, if indeed they are thinking? You mean within 2 days of the caucus, you still don't know which candidate speaks for you? You don't know which candidate makes the most sense, whose policies will work and whose don't. You're really still in the dark. You know, I expect that when I hear people, the undecided. It's always undecided. They don't know what they're going to do, this way or that. They may go Republican. They may go Democrat. I wish they would go to another continent. Because those people are so detached, so uninformed, so apathetic, that they're basically just dead weight. So to the people of Iowa, I would say, grow up a little bit. Look at policies. Look at issues, look at track record, and based on that, decide whom to support for president, not who shows up in your neighborhood and kisses your award-winning cow. And also, if you get within 48 hours of a major election, the presidential caucus is a major thing, and you still are in a dither about who to vote for, you know what? Do the country a favor. Don't vote. Just stay home and watch it on TV. Item. From Fox News, highly classified Hillary Clinton emails that the intelligence community and the State Department recently deemed too damaging to national security to release contain operational intelligence, and their presence on the unsecure personal email system jeopardize sources, methods, and lives. A U.S. government official who has reviewed the document told Fox News. The official, who was not authorized to speak on the record and was limited in discussing the contents because of their highly classified nature, was referring to 22 top-secret emails that the State Department announced on Friday it could not release in any form, even with entire sections redacted. The announcement fueled criticism of Clinton's handling of highly sensitive information while Secretary of State. even as the Clinton campaign continued to downplay the matter as the product of an interagency dispute over classification. But the U.S. government official's description provides confirmation that the emails contain closely held government secrets. Operational intelligence can be real-time information about intelligence collection, sources, and the movement of assets, unquote. In other words, Hillary Clinton not only was an inept fool, because she was unable to keep track of these incredibly important documents, but it's pretty clear to me she doesn't care. She'd much rather innocent people get killed than her presidential aspirations get derailed. She doesn't care about people's lives, doesn't care about your welfare or mine. All she cares about is power. That's the kind of animal that she is. And so if people were killed, and for all we know, people were killed as a result of her being an idiot, I guarantee she doesn't care. All that matters is getting elected. And by the way, anyone brainless enough and cold and ambitious enough to do this would never ever get my vote for anything. However, you can be assured that there are still millions and millions of people who will vote for Hillary Clinton, because these are low information voters. That's the PC way of saying they're ignoramuses. They don't care about what Hillary Clinton does, doesn't do, what she's accomplished, what she hasn't accomplished, if she would eat a baby in order to get president. They don't care about that. They like Hillary. Why? God only knows. And he hasn't told me. A lot of them just want a woman president, as if a vagina will make a difference in the White House. Oh, by the way, thanks to Clinton's husband, I won't even go there. Forget about it. I don't know what to tell you about people who at this late date would still vote for Hillary Clinton, other than to say they also are dead weight. I wish they would refuse to vote, and in fact, if they wanted to relocate to another country, I think it would be a blessing for America. It is Monday. It's Iowa Caucus Day. We're not going to be on the air long enough for me to give you anything even resembling results, but I hope the people in Iowa have good common sense, American values, and I hope they will go to the polls and, quite frankly, vote for either Donald Trump or Ted Cruz, because those are the only two people I see who stand a chance of being really, really good presidents. Like I said, it's Monday. It's Riell Truth. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Joe Jacobs, CEO of the Patriot Trading, and I would like to encourage everyone to make sure they are prepared financially as the Federal Reserve continues to destroy the value of the dollar. Since the closing of the gold window in 1971, the Federal Reserve has led the way in the explosion of debt and the devaluing of your money. They openly say that they need 2% inflation, which simply means they hope to devalue your money, and they want to do this every single year, year after year. I know it's hard to understand, but the Federal Reserve believes in prosperity through debt and growth via the devaluation of your future. To learn more about how to protect yourself, visit us at allamericangold.com or call us at 800-951-0592 and protect yourself against the devaluing of your money.
And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John bore witness of him and cried out, saying, This was he of whom I said, He who comes after me is preferred before me, for he was before me. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 14 and 15.
I already said a bracha. Thought you caught me, huh?
No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. Article 1, Section 10.
guys, I am back as I promised. I'm Howard Riell. The show is called Riell Truth. It's going to be a busy week. Let's get right to it. This comes from Fox News. Megyn Kelly talking to a guy whom I once hoped would become president. He's a stand-up guy, a bright, honorable guy. It didn't quite happen for him, and that's too bad. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York City. Here he is talking about why he supports Donald Trump.
I think these two votes in Iowa and New Hampshire are going to be much more important than usual. And not necessarily because they're going to pick the winner, but they're going to tell us something about Donald Trump. They're going to tell us, is that tremendous sentiment, which he has, and there's no question that he does, biggest crowds, the numbers on the polls, do they convert to votes without necessarily having the ground game that some of these other guys have? If they do, then he is a very serious candidate and possibly not. Would you say?
Now that was former New York City mayor and former Republican presidential candidate Rudy Giuliani, one of several establishments, Republican areas warming up to Donald Trump, as the Republican race resembles more and more looks more and more like a showdown between the two frontrunners, Trump and Texas Senator Ted Cruz. Mayor Giuliani telling the Washington Post that if it came down to Trump or Cruz, there is no question I'd vote for Trump. Joining me now with his take on the race, Rudy Giuliani. Mr. Mayor, great to see you.
Thank you, Megan.
Why? What did it for you?
Okay, first, the difference between the two of them, Donald's a more practical guy. Now, I have to tell you, he's a personal friend. 4 of the candidates are personal friends, not including Ted Cruz. I love them all. Hard to pick. I don't know who I'm going to endorse. But between Trump and Cruz, Cruz is too rigid. He's too right-wing. He will give away the Northeast. Gone.
In the general?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Maryland up to Maine, gone. California up to Washington, Oregon, gone.
Who can Trump get that Cruz can't get
I'll give
in the
you
general?
one person I just had dinner with. The head of the Correction Workers Union in New York, Norman Seabrook, who is an African American, enormously well respected by everyone in the African American community. He said to me tonight, I'm endorsing Donald Trump because he can get jobs. Donald Trump can do what Ronald Reagan did. He can reach over and he can get Reagan Democrats. Ronald Reagan, he can also get African Americans, believe it or not, Latinos, because he's not tarred by the long connection with the Republican Party that we all have. Blacks have this feeling about the Republican Party that we're anti-black, anti-Hispanic. We're not, but they have that feeling. He doesn't carry that burden with him. He could reach over. He could be an enormously powerful general election candidate.
Why do you say you think he'll get Latinos? Because if you look at the polling on his numbers of Latinos, it's like 80% opposed.
You know what he's right about? When he finally gets to them, what they really care about? Jobs. Can they work? Can he lift the economy? Can they create growth? Can he reach out to them the way Ronald Reagan was able to reach out to the union workers who were all Democrats, but they voted for him because they felt he could increase their wages. Now, I believe he's making a mistake in not showing up in the debate.
You do?
He should be in that debate.
Why?
First of all, I think he's going to do really well. His debating performances, as you watch them from the debate you had, through getting better and better. His answer to Cruz on that statement Cruz made about New York, I thought was close to eloquent. I mean, it lifted him to presidential level. So if I were Donald, and I'm not, right, and he makes up his own mind, I would participate in the debate because I think he'll win it. And I don't know why he's not doing it.
What do you make about there are tough questions in a presidential contest. As I always say, you guys who run for this office, you want George Washington's job.
Okay. I was the front runner for, not as long as he was, but I was the front runner for a long time. Every debate I went into, I prepared for, and I knew I was going to get asked the trick questions, the tough questions, the go-get-you questions. Chris Matthews once asked me what's the difference between Shia and Sunni. George Stephanopoulos.
You gave him a long lesson that
I
will
did.
that
I gave him a
above
lesson.
all,
I went
never
back,
to test your knowledge of anything.
I went back to the 6th century. George Stephanopoulos asked me, of all the things I did wrong in my life, including my marriages, what do I feel worst about? I said to George, I'd rather confess that to your father, a priest, than to you.
Oh, that's Mayor Giuliani. He did a great job as mayor. I think he would have been a good president. But now he's not running for president, but he is supporting Donald Trump, and I think that makes all the sense in the world. Item from the Washington Examiner, Dateline Manchester. California Congressman Darrell Issa, who previously led an investigation into Benghazi as former chairman of the House Oversight Committee, says the FBI, quote, would like to indict both Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton for conducting sensitive government business over an unsecured private email server. I think the FBI director would like to indict both Huma and Hillary as we speak, the Republican heavyweight told the Washington Examiner on Thursday during a debate watch party at Florida Senator Marco Rubio's New Hampshire campaign headquarters. Unquote. My friends, the FBI is not the only group of people who would like to indict Huma and Hillary. I would also love to see them indicted. Even more, I'd love to see them sharing a jail cell. You know what? We put them in different cells. Item from Fox News. The intelligence community has now deemed some of Hillary Clinton's emails too damaging to national security to release under any circumstances, according to a U.S. government official close to the ongoing review. A second source, who is not authorized to speak on the record, backed up the finding, unquote. My friends, enough said about that. Suffice it to say this. All these years I've been telling you, Hillary Clinton would sacrifice human life in order to further her political career. You see now, I was exactly spot on. Item from Reuters. Even in boycotting a debate with his Republican rivals for the White House, frontrunner Donald Trump managed to upstage the event on Thursday with a typical dramatic flourish. Instead of attending a seventh debate, the former reality TV star held a competing event across town that he said raised $6 million for U.S. military veterans. In doing so, he cast a shadow over his rivals, who frequently tossed barbs his way. Trump's gamble that he could leave the battlefield to his rivals for one night appears to have paid off, with just days to go before Iowa holds the first nominating contest of the 2016 election season. No one appeared to emerge as a central challenger to him during the 2-hour face-off in Des Moines. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline Minneapolis. A community advocate who spends his days helping Somali families and a youth soccer coach who works to keep kids off the street are among the people lining up for a crack at federal and private funds aimed at stopping terror recruiting. Friday was the deadline for applicants to request roughly $400,000 in money being administered by a nonprofit entity as part of Minnesota's effort to stamp out violent extremism. The program is part of a 3-city pilot project which includes Boston and Los Angeles, launched more than a year ago by the Obama administration. Minneapolis' program, called Building Community Resilience, focuses on the state's large Somali community, which has been fertile ground for terrorism recruiters. More than 22 men have left the state since 2007 to join al-Shabaab in Somalia, and roughly a dozen people have left in recent years to join militants in Syria. Unquote. My friends, allocating hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep Muslims from working for ISIS is even worse than paying children to do their homework. I got a better idea. Instead of bringing Somalis here and then paying them hundreds of thousands of dollars not to become terrorists, what do you say we just don't bring them here? And as for the ones who are here, what do you say we kick their asses out of here? That way we ain't got the terrorists and we ain't spent $400,000 a pop. Item from the American Mirror. Democrats aren't laughing about Donald Trump anymore. He has them all but admitting defeat. In a stunning admission, Hillary Clinton's campaign manager predicts in an email that Donald Trump will become president if he wins the Republican nomination. Quote, if Donald Trump takes the Republican nomination, our party will lose more than the presidency, Robbie Mook writes the supporters. Quote, years of progress will be ripped away. Obamacare will be repealed. Marriage equality will be rolled back. Get excited to visit the wall on the Mexico border and get ready to pay for it if President Trump can't magically get Mexico to cough up the cash for it. Unquote. My friends, I don't know Robbie Mook, but he's certainly a schmuck. Years of progress? The last 7 years have been destructive in the extreme for the United States. It's progress only if you are a terrorist or a terrorist supporter. Obamacare will be repealed. Thank God I should live and be well to see Obamacare repealed. As far as the wall on the Mexican border, it's absolutely essential, and there's not a question that Mexico will pay for it. I mean, this much is so simple, even a Democrat can understand it. The United States gives millions and millions and millions of dollars to Mexico every year. So if the wall costs, I don't know, $5 million to build, then we simply give Mexico $5 million less. Hence, they've paid for it. Mook! Typical Hillary supporter. Item. From the Telegraph in London, British and U.S. intelligence hacked Israeli drones' video feeds, allowing them to watch in real time as Israel bombed Gaza and spied on Syria, according to documents linked by American whistleblower Edward Snowden. GCHQ and its U.S. counterpart, the NSA, also monitored the drone footage in the hope of getting an early warning if Israel was attacking Iran's nuclear facilities. Unquote. Hang on a second here. Who's the enemy? If American and British drones are watching the Arabs, are watching the Muslim countries, well, that just makes sense. But they're watching Israel? Why? Israel's an ally. You don't spy on allies. The drone footage is being reviewed to see if Israel was attacking Iran's nuclear facility. That would be a blessing for the human race. Why? Was Barack Obama intending to stop Israel from bombing Iran's nuclear facilities? You got to wonder why someone named Barack Hussein Obama would want to help Muslim terrorists. Item from the Free Beacon. Ayatollah Salehi, commander of Iran's army, said on Tuesday that the Islamic Republic would destroy Israel at all costs, regardless of the recent nuclear deal, reports the Washington Free Beacon. According to the state-controlled press, Salehi said, quote, Israel only barks. No matter how much weapons are given to it, we are going to destroy them. We will promise this task will be done. Stop! 2 lessons. 2 lessons. Each vital. Number 1, here's this pig saying Israel only barks. And he's right. He's right. Israel only barks. It doesn't bite. And as you can see, bullies, fools, jihadis, they don't respect you if you bark. They only respect you if you sink your fangs into them and make them bleed. And so we see that Israel has been wrong for decades. I hesitate to say it, but Howard Riell has been right. Israel should devastate Iran. That's biting. That's not barking. Number 2, we also see that obviously Barack Obama wants an Iranian nuclear program because he's done absolutely nothing to dissuade the Iranians from building their program, and they're out front and open about the fact they intend to kill millions of innocent men, women, and children. And just like Hillary Clinton, I'm betting that Barack Obama also doesn't care about any toll in human life as long as he gets what he wants. What is it that Barack Obama wants? Maybe he wants to be the caliph. Item from the American Mirror. The NAACP's mission of political correctness and equality careened off the rails this week when a local president complimented a TV reporter's breasts during an interview. Don Harris, president of the Maricopa County chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, had just finished an event at Tempe Union High School District to discuss incident in school in which several girls wore black t-shirts bearing the letters NI**ER on them. The outrage was instantaneous. The 6 students in question pulled ranks to spell out NI**ER on their own, smiling gleefully to pose for an Instagram picture. Their punishment was 5-day suspension. A petition demanding their expulsion reads, EAG News reports. This hurtful use of a racial slur is complete disregard for the dignity of the black community in Arizona and across the nation, and the punishment does not fit the total ignorance and cruelty of the crime. Harris was on hand to accept apologies and demand action. But after the meeting, while participants were speaking with the media, he was caught on camera saying Channel 12 reporter Monique Griego had, quote, nice blanks. My friends, what do you say we stop banning words? Think maybe it's a good idea? I think so too. We'll be back.
We all know that our government is out of control. What are the point the people in it? How can we, the people, bring it back to the people's servants, not the people's masters? Liberty Forum and the Freedom Rider says officials in government must be made accountable for their actions. AccountabilityRevolution.com is the place to go to learn how you can actually make that happen. Become their judges, not their slaves. AccountabilityRevolution.com. Great Plains Power has been providing reliable electrical power systems in the Rocky Mountain area.
Hillary Rodham Clinton's.
Also tonight, new fallout from reporting we
Possibly would have already been, from her perspective, grave. And when she says there's no there, when she laughs about it, when she's secret bookings indicating really super top. Hillary.
Do it yourself. With more than 20 years of specialized experience at your disposal, let us know what your power concerns or goals are. Reach us by phone or the internet. Call 303-239-9963. That's 303-239-9963. Or go to GreatPlainsSolar.com. Now this is the testimony of John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny, but confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" And he answered, "No." The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 19 through 21. Article 4. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the places to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Piccolo's restaurant in Denver reminds us that over 750,000 children were reported missing last year. Over 58,000 of these were abducted by non-family members. Keep an eye out for youngsters at play, and if you see anything suspicious, contact the authorities immediately. This message from Piccolo's restaurant in Denver is not only the best Italian and Mexican cuisine, it's the people who care. Give them a call at 303-757-5166. 303-757-5166. Piccolo.
Okay, we are back. Judge Andrew Napolitano is on Fox News talking about Hillary Clinton, talking about private emails, talking about getting indicted. My friends, there is no truth to the rumor that I called Hillary Clinton a dirtbag earlier in the show. There is, however, truth to the rumor that I wish I had. Let's listen.
Hillary Rodham Clinton's secret email server scandal just keeps getting worse every day. Reports now say the number of email flagged as potentially containing classified information has grown to 305. But the former Secretary of State thinks it's all a big joke.
I recently launched a Snapchat account. I love it. I love it. Those messages disappear all by themselves.
But Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano says this is no laughing matter. He joins us right now. Judge Bob Woodward, who was involved in the Watergate scandal, covering it for the Washington Post, he said this email scandal reminds him a lot of Watergate.
It's an interesting analogy, and the reason he says that is because President Nixon acted as if he was never in trouble, he was never going to be investigated, he was never going to be caught, and P.S., those tapes, they belong to me, they don't belong to the government. Does that sound familiar?
Sure. Plus, with Nixon, they had the 18-minute gap, but with Hillary Rodham Clinton, you've got, what, 30,000 missing emails?
Correct, 33,000 missing emails. And guess what? She didn't even do a good job of erasing them. Because of the ones she didn't erase, they found about 300 that are seriously questionable as to whether they contain classified material. Now, we know that at least one of them contains top secret material. And then within the top secret category, there were 3 other markings indicating really, really super top, so super top that you can't discuss it outside of a secured environment, a secured room. And this particular email, which was satellite photographs of a Middle Eastern country and intercepts of foreign agents, was in that category. So let's just hypothetically say, Mrs. Clinton and her associates are indicted for conspiracy to violate the espionage laws of the United States by knowingly letting secrets get out. And let's just say they're in a courtroom, and Mrs. Clinton says, well, it didn't say classified on it.
Because the story last week was that perhaps one of her underlings stripped that off and then sent it to her server.
No one knows if that happened because the FBI has this information, and we haven't seen it yet. But here's what her argument was. Her first argument was, there are no classified materials. Then she changed it to, I didn't send or receive anything that was marked classified. So if she tries to tell that to a jury, guess what the judge is going to say? The judge is going to say, members of the jury, the Secretary of State, who has been trained to identify classified materials, is presumed to know what's classified or not, whether it stands top secret or not. That would force her to get on the witness stand. That would force her to justify how these pictures of Yemen from a satellite are not classified.
Do you feel, with your judicial gut, she is going to wind up getting charged?
Yes. I feel that she's in serious trouble and she doesn't recognize it. I can tell you this. The team of FBI investigators and federal prosecutors that are pursuing her is the highest and best in the Justice Department. Not to criticize other teams. It's absolutely apolitical. It's impervious to political consequences. And do you know who runs the FBI? Jim Comey. Do you remember when he threatened to resign under President Bush because the president wanted him to do something he didn't think was right? Do you think that if they find enough evidence to indict Mrs. Clinton and her colleagues, and the president says no, Mr. Comey will be quiet about it? I don't.
Well, okay. Here's a question for you, though. We got an election in about a year and a half.
Right.
Will the results come out before then? And then if she is charged after presumably, if she got elected president of the United States, then what happens? She could, of course, pardon herself.
Yes, believe it or not, she could pardon herself. It'll be the first time in history, but she does have the authority to do that. I would think that if there is enough evidence to bring criminal charges against her, or, to be fair, if there's not enough evidence to bring criminal charges against her, we would know that, and the FBI would reveal it right around the time of the New Hampshire primary, about 5 or 6 months from now.
All right, stay tuned, Judge. Thank you very much.
My friends, it is in the best interest of the United States of America for Hillary Clinton to put on orange jumpsuits instead of her disgusting pantsuits and to live in a small jail cell. That's what would be best for America. Item from Reuters: in the Egypt air mechanic, whose cousin joined Islamic State in Syria, is suspected of planting a bomb on a Russian passenger plane that was blown out of Egypt's skies in late October, according to sources familiar with the matter. So far, Egypt has publicly said it found no evidence that the Metrojet flight, which crashed in the Sinai Peninsula after takeoff from Sharm el-Sheikh Airport, killing all 224 people on board, was brought down by terrorism. Of course, my friends, there's no reason to expect that an airplane blowing up in the Middle East would have anything whatsoever to do with terrorism. By the way, this Egypt air mechanic, whose cousin joined Islamic State, okay, presumably the guy's a Muslim, right? Of course he's a Muslim. He didn't join Islamic State. He hasn't been in the training camp learning how to kill people. He's just a law-abiding, tax-paying Muslim who goes to work, and allegedly, he helped blow 224 people out of the sky. So, is it really okay to have moderate Muslims living in your country? I'm not thinking so. Item from Reuters: a suicide bombing and gun attack on Shiite Muslim worshippers killed at least 4 people in eastern Saudi Arabia on Friday, the Interior Ministry and witnesses said, extending a spate of attacks on the kingdom's Shiite minority. The assault on the Imam Rida Mosque in the eastern province town of Mahasan, a mixed Sunni Shiite district in which there is an extension of a compound where state oil company Aramco employees live, also wounded at least 18 people. Unquote. My friends, bombs, guns, blood, murder, same Shiite, different day. Item from Al Monitor. The Egyptian Ministry of Religious Endowment has shuttered 27,000 local places of worship under the pretext of fighting terrorism while awarding 400 preaching permits to Salafists. An Egyptian administrative court on February 18th, last February 18th, that is, upheld the Ministry of Religious Endowment's decision issued in September 2013 to close down neighborhood places of worship of less than 80 square meters, a move intended to protect young people from the militancy and extremism that can prevail in such places, which lack the legal standing to hold Friday prayers. This move sets a precedent that raises many questions about the fate of mosques in many Egyptian villages, the grounds of which are usually less than 80 square meters. Unquote. My friends, here's the real take-home. If Egypt can shut down and close mosques, we can too. Item from thenewamerican.com. Self-styled global warming guru Al Gore and a gaggle of supposed climate scientists have egg all over their faces, big time. In 2007, 8, and 9, Gore publicly and very hysterically warned that the North Pole would be ice-free by around 2013 because of alleged man-made global warming. Citing climate experts, the government-funded BBC hyped the mass hysteria, running a now embarrassing article under the headline, Arctic Summer is Ice-Free by 2013. Other establishment media outlets did the same. Well, 2013 is over. And contrary to the alarmist predictions by Gore and what critics refer to as his doomsday cult, the latest satellite data show that Arctic ice cover has actually expanded 50% over 2012 levels. Liberals can't live with them, but you can live without them. We'll be back.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever...
All right, guys, all done. I'll be back on the air tomorrow. Share this video, please, with everybody you know, for their good. All right, bye-bye.